to talk about this bus issue is being kicked from one half of the field to the next, and some wild claims made. I want to just say, just on that, just in passing, that one of the things I've always said about legislators in any country, legislators need to live the life that most of the people who they are agitating to serve live, because it gives you an understanding of, what people go through every day.
Mm-hmm.
And as I hear the criticisms of the rural school bus program, one question that came to my mind. If you take Mark Golding, Michael Phillips, and Peter Bunting together and ask them, say, okay, gentlemen, I want you to outline to the people the difficulties you faced going to school in your time, and hear what they had to say. Because it makes a difference, Men who were chauffeured to school from infant, from daycare, right the way to university, or maybe they drove themselves. You're going to have a different perspective than for the thousands of Jamaica, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands over time, who have a fight. I mean, you had the Hampton service to take you to high school. You were dropped at prep school, weren't you?
No, I walked.
You walked. Oh, Levi. Good. All right, even that give you perspective.
Yes.
But there are many of us, someday you reach a school and you're sour. Not because you sour, because you're being, but the people, they will push and pull you, and you're at the mercy of no schoolers. Has Bunting, Golding, and Michael Phillips ever had that experience? When Michael went to the high schools, he went and Senator Bunting and Mark Golding. How many taxis you took, gentlemen? How many times did you fight to get on a bus? How many times were you told no schoolers? Peter, Mark, Michael. So when you don't have that experience, you can take up certain lines, is all I'm saying. This morning, though, it's not for that. That will come up later. I got a letter sometime last week from a public servant who wants to remain anonymous, who said to me that they wanted to make a comment on this thing concerning Dennis Chung because it refuses to go away. And they even dropped in a little bit of Ronnie Lawrence in it as well. And I felt it necessary to read this letter. And the public servant, I won't reveal the gender, but said, boy, George, you see what I'm persecute people. I just hope that you keep this thing anonymous, because I just want to say something on behalf of people like us in the public service. So I'm just going to read verbatim what this civil servant sent to me last week. Dear George, I considered writing this letter multiple times, but figured that this matter would lose its relevance by news cycle standards. To my dismay, it appears that during this election season, the character assassinations of public servants refuses to die a natural death. The attacks on the reputations of public servants gives me great trepidation, considering that I am one such Jamaican who has opted to give service to this great nation through the public service for quite a few years. We have seen the cut and the thrust of politics expand its aim beyond politicians, such as Prime Minister Holness, to officials who have no direct relationship to politics, like Keisha Prince Kamika, Stephanie Fiddler-Blake, Ronnie Florence, Dennis Chung, and more recently Pamela Monroe Ellis. I find two of these instances similar but simultaneously very different. Ronnie Florence of the Integrity Commission was recently appointed to act as Director of Corruption Prosecution. His only crime is having a very proud friend of 20 years, a friend who happens to be impugned in character in this moment due to his and his political party's utterances about a matter that originated within Lawrence's place of work, wherein Lawrence's recent appointment could aid or seeks to aid in unseating a current prime minister through foul means. The situation is convoluted, despicable, and raises serious ethical issues, but is not criminal. Mr. Lawrence's guilt by association places his reputation on the line over something that he may or may not have participated in. The second matter that has been revolving through the turnstile of lives is the appointment of Mr. Dennis Chung to the Financial Investigations Division. Chung is a chartered accountant who, in his capacity as a public commentator, made some remarks when asked, and this person underlines and puts in bold, when asked, about the likelihood of an individual to have multiple bank accounts. Mr. Chung, a Jamaican commentator, used the education that he earned with his vast knowledge of local and international business and financial systems to posit his most intellectual and reasonable response, only to be dragged through the court of public opinion when he is selected to head a public body. Now, in various iterations of these issues, we have learned far too much about these people who, for the most part, have taken on a quiet and unassuming role towards nation building. The obliteration of a person's good name cannot be lumped and conflated with politics. I put it to you, George, that this may be the reason we see so many undecided within our polls. There is a subset of our population who wants nothing to do with politics and would sooner work undocumented in a foreign country than to subject themselves to the grandstanding and entitled manner in which people's reputations are scantily regarded to score political points. They mock our politics and choose neither to participate nor to be educated in it. Where these issues differ is that while the walls have gone up around Ronnie Florence, I venture to say that Dennis Chung is not okay. His first few weeks in the new role is characterized by public shaming, several renditions of his resume, attacks on his ability to do a job for which he may have spent weeks preparing a solid and revolutionary approach to its management that earned him the favor of a panel. At this rate, we may never get to see what he can truly do because we have already begun appraising his performance without offering him an opportunity to do the job. Now, George, that is the foundation on which every public servant's tenure is built. The opportunity, resources, and the time to do a job for which you are then appraised. This is not fair to him, and it is not fair to Jamaica. Again, I will venture to say that his motivation may very well be diluted. Any normal new job insecurities that he may have had is now heightened and weighing on him. How does he lead a team, learn the job, and drown out the noise? Now, I don't know Dennis Chung, but I ask that he be allowed the space to properly and confidently perform his role. It is his right as a duly recruited Jamaican, as a patriot, and as a public servant. The fact is that the transformation of the public service is necessary to remove the well-touted bureaucracy that has become commonplace and that hinders business. The reality is that the public sector needs people like Dennis Chung who decide to remove themselves from the sidelines to make a direct contribution to a system that they themselves have often criticized. We cannot ask for patriots and then ridicule the patriots for becoming patriots. It is nonsensical, and we are not a nonsensical populace. I implore Jamaica that while we seek to discuss very important matters, that we always try to maintain people's good name. In all the cases, these officers have not been found guilty of anything. However, their lives have been put on display in a way that will follow them beyond their current capacities. It is not acceptable that we align the invasive interrogation of a person's life to their choice in careers just because we can. The effects are far-reaching that go beyond what is instantly before us. Yours in service to Jamaica, a public sector patriot. There you have it.